If you liked the video, please consider supporting us on Patreon.
Today I want to get a little less technical and talk to you guys about the process of post-production. My friends, welcome to Pull My Focus Adventures in the World of Digital Filmmaking, where we bring you the inside tips on making great digital video. Now, if you're an editor like me, you're part of a world called post-production. If you're the only post-production person on the job, well, then you have a long list of responsibilities that include reading shot list notes, understanding storyboards, gathering rushes and other digital assets, choosing music, creating digital composites. The list goes on. It's all part of the job, especially when that job isn't just your own projects, but when you introduce paid clients to all this stuff, then shit gets real. So let's talk. I'm going to tell you how I keep all this stuff together and remain organized from project to project. Hopefully what I do will help you too. Get organized. Now, I did a video a while back on organizing your digital assets that I highly recommend you take a look at for a more deep dive on that subject. I feel that organization is the foundation of keeping sane. So here are some things you should consider to stay organized. Use a project template to ramp up any new projects quickly. An example of this is in the video that I did. But by using a template that has all the bins set up, presets you often use, assets preloaded, you save valuable time in the start of a project. Make versions of your work as you go. Now, although you can set Premiere to autosave your work every so often, this doesn't count as making actual versions. Autosaves are just backups. I suggest you set up a regimen of duplicating your work and your working sequences every so often so you can refer back to them when you need to. For example, for each Pull My Focus video we make, I usually create a new version of the sequence I'm going to work on every time I open the current project after a long break. Now, this could happen once in the morning and once after lunch. I'll use simple version numbers as I go. When we work with paying clients, I'll make a new version of my work for the client to see, but internally we might go through many revisions. Frank and I will only see the internal revisions, while the client usually sees just the versions. So an example of this is the client will see maybe client job V1, client job V2, client job V3. Internally, we will see client job V1, client job V1R1, client job V1R2, client job V1R3, etc., etc. And then client job V2 will have client job V2R1. The goal is to allow yourself some wiggle room. Maybe you had a cut yesterday that was awesome, but for some reason you lost it in the current cut. Or maybe the client wants to go back to those older versions because changes. Always be ready to hand over the entire project to someone else. Maybe we might have an additional editor to work on the project. If we aren't doing our own internal projects, then most of the work we do is work for hire. What that means is the company that has commissioned our work is considered the author and automatic copyright owner of said work. That means they can ask for not only the finished product, but all the digital assets that make up the project. If and when they do ask for the project files, I have already made sure that all I have to do is compress a single folder and all the work is contained within. This means not just going to Premiere and using the collect and output option, because that only outputs the files that are in the final project. They probably need all the rushes and all the digital assets that were created and possibly not used in the final. So make sure you don't have all the files spread out over multiple drives and multiple computers. Stay organized from end to end. Communication and feedback. My first couple of projects were just all me, right? So I worked on everything pretty much all by myself with no input from anyone. Eventually, I wanted someone else to see it, so I showed them what I consider the final version. From their feedback, I was amazed at how much I missed and how much better their suggestions made my work. Now, communication and feedback is key in post-production, okay? So when Frank sends me an assembly edit of a video, I add my creative input during the edit. And usually, I'll send it back to him expecting him to see how amazing it is and for him to throw more input on top of mine. If you work alone, I suggest you ask a few close pals to take a look at your drafts and tell you what they think. Don't wait until you're done to do this. The earliest you can get some feedback, the better. Hell, even pitch new ideas to them. You'll be surprised at where your idea can go when another person that you trust chimes in. Now, once again, if you're working with paying clients, communication should always be in mind. Hopefully, a good project manager bakes in the time for back and forth feedback and changes that always happen. Even still, make sure to report any and all blockers you hit during any point of the process back to the client. This may include spending a little more time on the phone going over their vision so you're clear on what they want. It also means checking all delivered assets before starting. I never consider an asset delivered until I can open it and actually use it. I highly recommend using a collaboration website to aid in communication. Now, what do I mean? We use a service called Frame.io. Frame.io allows us to upload videos so the client can see it, and then the client can make notes and they can actually mark up the video on what frame, at what time, and then we can go back and forth and have a discussion with the client about the specific video, right? We're all referencing the same time frames, we're all talking about the same everything, so that one person isn't looking at it in QuickTime, the other person isn't looking at it in VLC, and then we're looking at it in whatever other player. We have a nice conversation online, and we can do versions. So every version we can compare versions from 1 to 2. The entire discussion is in one place, not sent over Dropbox and email and all this other stuff. Frame.io is terrific. Now, they're not a sponsor of ours. We've just been using them for so long. You can choose other things too. There's another service called Whipster.io that does pretty much the same thing. And Vimeo also allows collaboration on videos on their site. So take a look at those sites. They will help you immensely with communications between you and maybe just a partner, or you and your client. Makes you look really professional too, trust me. Plugins are your friend. You don't have to build everything yourself. In fact, you'll probably lose valuable time trying to reinvent the wheel when there are perfectly good plugins and add-on modules that you can be leveraging to get ahead. Yes, knowledge is power, but as Steely Dan said, time keeps on slipping. You know, it's great to know how to build a complex animation in After Effects, but when the rubber meets the road and you have a deadline to meet, pick your battles and think about using plugins, even paid ones. For Premiere users, probably get a subscription to, I don't know, Red Giant Universe, not a PMF sponsor, trust me. It's a great set of tools that add an incredible amount of polish to your productions when used correctly. We'll list some links to a couple of other plugins that you might be able to use in the description down below. Spend time learning. Remember ABS for Always Be Shooting? Let's add ABL for Always Be Learning. I found that with every project, I learn a little more each time about my field. Impress your clients or yourself by trying something new. Seek out the information available to you on the internet like our show, Pull My Focus, or sign up on Skillshare or Udemy, or seek out other talented YouTubers doing what you do. And if you like, drop us a line here at Pixel Valley Studio and apprentice under Frank and I. We'd love to hear about what projects you have going on, and we'd love to chat with you. All right, that's it for our chat today. I hope these tips helped you through the process and the important task of post-production. I hope this made things a little easier, and if you picked up a tip or two, thank you so much. Make sure to check us out at pullmyfocus.tv for all our companion articles to these videos. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to ring the bell, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. And don't text and drive. That's right. Don't drink and drive, don't text and drive. Don't do anything and drive, just drive, right? Nothing and drive. All right.